The Bank of Canada is saying that rate hikes could be interrupted, and we talk about the state of 2018 and where the real estate market is going in 2019. This is the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast. We are so happy that you have joined us. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Real Estate Podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening or watching. Thank you so much for tuning into the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast. I believe it's episode 21, and we are getting very close to Christmas and to New Year's. I've got a little bit of a cold, so if I have to clear my voice, I apologize. But I wanted to talk today about what is happening in the real estate market as of 2019. Where are we going? What is happening? And what can we plan to expect for 2019? I want to talk briefly about what's happening and what's happened in 2018. And our news article of the day, it comes from the Financial Post. The Bank of Canada, more directly, Stephen Pelosi, says that they're going to probably slow down or stop interest rate hikes from happening as systematically as they have been. They wanted to get to a neutral range of 2.5% to 3.5%. But right now we are at 1.75%. That's the Bank of Canada's posted rate. I'd have to look up the rate for the banks currently, but I think they're roughly sitting around 3.5%. I'm going to take a quick look right now. But Stephen Pelosi's come out and basically said in a CTV interview that they're gonna slow it down. It's time to slow it down, and I think that's a good thing. I think they've done a good job in terms of cooling off the real estate market, specifically in Toronto and Vancouver. But we're in a dull time at the moment. It's Christmas, obviously, and New Year's, but 2019 is coming. It's gonna come with a vengeance. They still want to get though to 2.5% and 3%. Right now, you can get a 5-year fixed rate as low as 3.29%. Listen, anything under 5 or 6%, you are basically living for free. You're getting $100,000 amortized over 25 years at 3.29%. You're living for free. You can go and find an investment that is paying out 4 or 5% annually, and you're still only borrowing at 3.29%. I'm not going to get into the financials and the specifics of investments versus your interest rate, but you can see that if your a normal nominal rate of interest, is in between, let's say 2.5% and 4%, which is what it's been at, is really not that bad. So the Bank of Canada still wants to get up to 3.5%. There is the market expectations of a rate increase on January 9th when they're going to be discussing it is extremely low. People are just not thinking that they're going to go there, and I don't think they will. Pelosi, who's described the economy as generally being in a good place, said that the biggest risk was the future of global trading and the global trading system. The United States is in a huge trade war right now with China, and actually there's a lot of things that have happened, significant things that have happened with China and Canada, specifically the Huawei, and I don't think I'm saying that right, but the phone company. Canada has arrested their CFO, and I don't have it in front of me, so it could be their CEO or CFO. It's the daughter of the owner of the company. They're basically, the U.S. has wanted Canada to arrest this person and extradite them to the U.S. This person, I believe, now has been released on $10 or $15 million of bail, wearing an ankle bracelet. monitor their movement. But this has created some major tensions with Canada and China. So the U.S. and China are going at each other. So are Canada and China. And really, the crazy thing is that President Trump has created some political drifts and political in one sense, but really divisive in terms of what's happening with the world and with a lot of different countries. China and Canada always had a good, I shouldn't say always, but they've had a very good relationship in terms of trade and in terms of doing business together. Something that the U.S. wanted Canada to do, which was arrest this high-ranking person in this company, has created now a rift between China and Canada, thanks to the U.S. So it's going to be interesting to see the fallout early 2019 with regards to China and Canada. What is going to happen? And I don't think anybody really knows. Also, what's going to happen with the U.S. and China? It's a tariff war right now, and really the U.S. is in these tariff wars with a lot of countries. Some rightly so, and some I don't agree with. We live now in a global economy. There's no denying that. What we purchase from a country that crosses our border affects the purchasing power of local Canadians and their businesses. There's a lot that goes into global trade, especially in today's economy. 70s and 80s, when we were dealing really more specifically with our natural resources, oil, forestry, and water, things of that nature. Completely different market now, completely different landscape. And I have a challenge with, for me, as an uneducated, I will go out and say that I haven't spent enough time educating myself. So this is just merely an opinion piece, an opinion. But when we talk about market cycles and how we're 10 years into a really good economy, and I've said this, so I'm guilty of it just like everybody else. But when we talk about markets and cycles, it's very hard to predict based on previous cycles. We haven't been in this cycle. Now, this is an uneducated opinion, so I'm not sitting here as an economist or someone who has studied market trends. But when I understand the current market we're in, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that we haven't had in previous market trends. 2007 and 8, when there was a lot of subprime lending, and then banks went, oh no, we can't fulfill our obligations. They started selling these subprime mortgages and basically collapsed the U.S. economy. That was one major factor. There was a lot of banks that were exposed in other areas as well. Too Big to Fail, great movie. You should definitely watch it if you're unsure and not sure of what happened in 2008. But basically, we're in a different time now, and so as the government is actually recognizing this, which bravo to the government. I'm surprised that they are, because it doesn't matter what government's in. This isn't a political ploy. It's just governments in general. They're usually really slow to adapt to what's happening. And I will say that I'm actually surprised and impressed that they've come out and addressed these mortgage rate hikes. And I think in 2019 it's going to be interesting to sort of see what happens. That's going to lead to my next topic. 2018, I'm going to come out with an official video and do an actual video on 2018. And then I'm going to do a separate video on my predictions on 2019. But to sum it up, and I'd like to try and keep this podcast under 15 minutes. I'm at about 10 minutes right now. To sum this up, though, that 2018 was a transition year. 2015, 16, and 17, the market in Toronto, our local market, was crazy. Insane. 16 and 17, you would have a seller that lists their property and really have 10 to 15 people bidding on that property for the most part. Now, not every property was like that, but 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, majority of properties, you would put the sign on the lawn and have people lining up. it was insane. 2018 is a completely different year. And really, half of 2017 into 2018, the markets changed significantly. Interest rates were going up. Political uncertainty and tariff and trade wars with the U.S. Factored into that. The rules changed. I mean, you had to qualify completely differently than what it was before. Your purchasing power, buyers' purchasing power went down. You could afford $500,000 home. Now you could afford a $450,000 or $425,000 home. So purchasing power was cut in half. There was a lot of things that factored into the slowdown of our real estate market. Buyer fatigue. I mean, there's just a lot of people that had made a move. It was harder for foreign buyers to purchase properties in Toronto and Vancouver. Significant slowdown. The rental market, though, increased. The rental market went up big time. And with the conservatives in, they are now looking at and potentially have passed reducing rent controls. So now landlords can name their price. So there's a lot of factors that have gone into slowing down the real estate market in end of 2017 and in 2018. That being said, it wasn't negative. We didn't slow down to where there was no sales. Sales happened. So there was significant business done in 2018, but it wasn't at a frantic pace of 2016 and 17, which is a good thing. 2019, we are going to still be in that transitional period. We aren't going to drop significantly, and we aren't going to go up significantly. We're in a very balanced real estate market now, and that's a good thing. Listen, if you want to sell your home, there are buyers out there. If you are looking to purchase a home, there are listings out there. It's a very balanced market, and if you're listening to this in North Bay or in Barrie or in Manitoba, take this into consideration. Your real estate market is very localized. So what I'm talking about in the local GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, specifically in Oakville, in Burlington, in Milton, in Mississauga, and in Hamilton, those 5 marketplaces, my talk is very relevant. It may be completely different in Vancouver or Saskatchewan or Manitoba. So if you live in a market and you're like, hey man, we're going crazy here, or out in Alberta where nothing's happening because there's no jobs right now, it's a dead market, totally different. I appreciate everybody's different viewpoints. I'm talking specifically to a local real estate market. 2019 is going to be a very good year to make a move both on the buyer side and on the seller side. And I will be doing videos specifically for both because I think that there are strategies as a seller and as a buyer to get to get top dollar for your home still in 2019, and as a buyer to get really good value. I think that you can achieve both if you're working with the right agent. So I think 2019 is going to be a great year to make a move. This isn't a sales tactic. I'm not here to pitch you to sell or buy and it be a bad year. I think right now, going into 2019, it's a perfect time to make a move. I really think it is. So stay tuned for some upcoming videos on that, on these topics. But if you're talking to a colleague or a neighbor or a friend or family member and they're thinking about making a move, it's a great time. And if they have any questions or comments, feel free to drop my contact info, sold@kenparkin.com. Super easy. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Ken Parkin Real Estate, or Facebook, same username, Ken Parkin Real Estate. But I want to do business with you in 2019. Let's do business. We're going to be doing a lot of business. We've got a lot of amazing content coming out. If you're thinking about making a move and you're unsure, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I would love to educate you on the local real estate market. If you have any questions or any comments or concerns, this is a great time to strategize about making that move in 2019. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until the next one, go out and have an amazing day.